Good evening. I'm Harry Keeling on behalf of Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation and Alaska Public Media. Welcome to Hangar Flying. This evening our guest is Brian Leist. Brian has a long and varied career in aircraft maintenance. In fact, after serving in the Air Force, and thank you for your service, Brian.
You're welcome, Harry.
After the Air Force, Brian attended Northrop University where he earned his A&P. He then worked for McDonnell Douglas on MD-80s and C-17s. He's got a wide range of experience from general aviation to corporate to commercial. He was with Alaska Airlines for 11 and a half years as a line maintenance supervisor. And a couple of years ago started his own company, Flytech, which is out on the shores of Lake Hood. Brian has 6 full-time mechanics working for him, and I can tell you from personal experience, they are real professionals and craftsmen. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks for having me, Harry.
Brian, it's winter. Probably don't need to tell you that or the audience. Nights are longer, temperatures colder. And our viewers around the state, pilots, mechanics, aircraft owners, aviation enthusiasts are flying in winter. And there's some considerations that I'd like you to talk about. So what kind of recommendation you have on taking care of your airplane in the wintertime and winter flying and whatnot?
Well, just like us, they like to be warm, so the best thing you can do is keep them warm. If you don't have the luxury of having a hangar or the ability to put one in a hangar, at least get an engine blanket, cover it up, get wing covers, cover your tail feathers, and if possibly the whole fuselage. They make covers for everything nowadays.
So hangar it if you can, and I think the advantage to that are obvious. But what if you can't hangar it, or what if you're going out to your cabin or something? Obviously, you don't have a hangar out there. Talk a little bit about preheating.
Okay, if you don't have electricity, there are certain heating devices such as the Red Dragon that have their own fuel source that you can use. You've got to stay close to those. You don't want to walk away from something like that, but they'll get your engine warm enough for you to start the engine without any damage. Again, keep all the inlets covered up. You can put your engine blanket on and keep as much heat in there as you possibly can. And then watch your temperatures as they rise.
So you and I were talking about the precaution. I mean, I've got a Red Dragon, but the air that comes out is pretty hot, and you want to be careful, don't you?
Sure, you've got to watch out for all your pieces and parts that are inside the engine compartment, your wiring. You don't want to aim it directly at your wiring. You don't want to melt any shielding or any plastics that could otherwise melt. So that's a caution. You want it hot, but not too hot.
And the other alternative, of course, is if you have power. Talk a little bit about the Tannis and some of the other options there.
Yeah, the two main ones that we see here in Alaska are the Rife preheat systems and the Tannis. They both have their advantages and disadvantages. The Rife they have band clamps that go around each cylinder. You can go so far as to put a pad on your oil cooler, your oil pan. You can boost the amperage up twice, so it heats up twice as fast. The Rife is more or less the pads that go on your oil cooler. There's also the opportunity to purchase an item that's a remote control system that you can call from your cell phone and start these units up from long distance. And
really?
That's becoming pretty popular these days.
Wow. So I guess the secret is the oil, isn't it? I mean, the viscosity of the oil, the temperature of the oil, and if you don't have an oil temperature indication, which you can with some of these engine gauges, but I've always heard that when you pull the dipstick out, if the oil looks like it's warm and it flows reasonably smoothly, that's one good indication of the success of your preheating. Is that true?
Absolutely. Yeah, when you pull the dipstick out, if it looks like clean oil and it runs off smoothly like water, that's what you're looking for.
Okay. You know what? I want to get you on again next time, but I've got about 1 minute. I want to ask you one quick question. What about any thoughts on intake baffles, some of these winterization kits?
Sure. We see a variety of winterization kits. They're sold by different companies, but in the wintertime, you want to try to control that airflow inside. When we get sub-zero temperatures, you get that cold air on the cylinders that can cause some serious problems. But they're bafflings that can go over those intakes and kind of control that temperature. And it's kind of an experimental thing. Some people will block half of them, and depending on how your engine's running and the temperatures you're flying in, it's all about monitoring, what you're seeing on your gauges and how much you need to block off.
And it's fair to say that you got to be careful because you want to take them off. And I think with my 185, the recommendation is take them off when it gets to be 20 degrees.
Right.
Yeah. Brian, I'm going to get you back on, and
Okay.
got some good ideas, and I want you to share them with our audience. So, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, fly safe.